Old Hollywood shimmered with glamour, charm, and endless red carpets. But behind the flashing lights and picture-perfect smiles, secrets simmered. Affairs that never made the headlines. Romances hidden from even the nosiest tabloids. Some were forbidden, others downright shocking. But all of them were carefully buried beneath the studio system's polished image. Until now. We're digging up the untold stories, 17 secret affairs that slipped under the radar but shook the stars involved. If you think you've heard it all about Hollywood's golden age, think again. These are the scandals they didn't want you to know. Let's pull back the curtain. Charlie Chaplin and Lita Grey. Charlie Chaplin's relationship with Lita Grey was filled with scandal from the start. Already a major star, Chaplin met Lita when she was still a teenager. At just 16, she caught the attention of the 35-year-old actor while working on one of his films. Their connection had to stay hidden, mostly due to her age and Chaplin's fear of backlash. Things got worse when Lita became pregnant. At the time, a child out of wedlock could end a career. To protect his image, Chaplin rushed to marry her. The wedding took place in secret in Mexico in 1924, far from the reach of Hollywood's press. But the marriage was a disaster. Chaplin and Lita often fought, and the relationship quickly broke down. By 1927, they divorced in a messy, very public trial. Details from court shocked the world, with reports of Chaplin's controlling ways and constant affairs. The press ran wild with the story, and it became one of Hollywood's biggest scandals. Vivian Leigh and Laurence Olivier's love story started with a spark that couldn't be ignored. In 1936, Olivier saw Leigh perform in The Mask of Virtue. He was instantly drawn to her. Leigh felt the same. She told a friend, "That's the man I'm going to marry." But there was one problem. They were both already married. Leigh's husband, barrister Herbert Holman, didn't support her acting. Olivier was married to Jill Esmond, the daughter of well-known stage actors. Later, Olivier admitted he had married Jill because he didn't think he could do any better. In 1937, things changed. Olivier was cast in Hamlet, and Leigh began visiting him often. They worked together on Fire Over England, and their bond deepened. Olivier called it love, not lust. He said it was something no man could resist. They both left their spouses and moved in together before their divorces were even final. In 1940, they married in California, but the romance didn't last. Leigh struggled with drinking, miscarriages, and had a long affair with his actor Peter Finch. By 1960, their marriage ended. Still, Olivier never stopped caring. After the divorce, he wrote to Leigh, "You did nobly and bravely and beautifully. I am very sorry. It must have been much hell for you." Their love burned bright, but it couldn't survive the storm. Ava Gardner and Frank Sinatra. Ava Gardner and Frank Sinatra had a love story that was as wild as it was famous. When they met, Sinatra's star was fading, and he was still married to Nancy Barbato, the mother of his 3 kids. But none of that seemed to matter. Sinatra was taken with Ava's beauty and charm, and they jumped into a passionate affair. Sinatra's love for Ava was intense, but it came with jealousy and control. While she was filming in Spain, he showed up unannounced and demanded to know if she had been with anyone else. When she admitted to a one-night stand with a bullfighter, he flew into a rage. Still, the fire between them kept burning. Eventually, Sinatra told Nancy he was in love with Ava. She threw him out. His guilt over leaving his family, especially as a Catholic, slowed down the divorce. But when it was finally done, he married Ava just 10 days later. The media went crazy. Ava was painted as the villain, the woman who stole Sinatra from his wife and kids. Their marriage was no fairy tale. The public drama, constant fights, and Sinatra's career problems took a toll. Their love may have burned bright, but it also burned fast, leaving behind one of Hollywood's most explosive scandals. Debbie Reynolds, Eddie Fisher, and Elizabeth Taylor. Debbie Reynolds and Elizabeth Taylor were once the best of friends. They met as teens and stayed close, sharing fame, fun, and trust. Debbie married singer Eddie Fisher in 1955. They had 2 kids, including future Star Wars star Carrie Fisher. Around the same time, Elizabeth married producer Mike Todd, and the couples often spent time together. In 1958, tragedy struck when Todd died in a plane crash. Eddie tried to comfort the grieving Elizabeth, but things turned emotional and then physical. Their affair shocked Hollywood. Elizabeth later said she never really loved Eddie and was just clinging to someone who reminded her of her late husband. Still, Eddie left Debbie and the public turned on Elizabeth. She was branded a homewrecker, while Debbie was seen as the heartbroken wife. Eddie and Elizabeth married right after his divorce, but their relationship was rocky from day one. By 1964, Elizabeth had moved on to Richard Burton, creating yet another scandal. Years later, Debbie and Elizabeth ran into each other on a cruise. They exchanged notes and slowly rebuilt their friendship. By 2001, they were even working together on a TV project written by Carey. But no matter how much time passed, their bond would always be marked by the betrayal that once tore them apart. Lauren Bacall, Humphrey Bogart, and Mayo Methot. Humphrey Bogart and Mayo Methot had a marriage full of fights, alcohol, and drama. The press called them the Battling Bogarts, and it fit. Their arguments often turned physical, with Bogart even giving Mayo the nickname Sluggy because of her temper. Things hit a low point in 1944 during a USO tour when the couple, drunk and angry, fired guns at each other. Around that same time, Bogart met 19-year-old Lauren Bacall on the set of To Have and Have Not. He was 44, but their chemistry was instant. One night, Bogart stopped by her trailer, kissed her, and asked for her number. Bacall later said he was the man who meant everything to her. Still, Bogart didn't leave Mayo right away. He kept going back, trying to fix things. Once Mayo caught him on the phone with Bacall and went into a jealous rage. But in the end, Bogart couldn't deny his feelings. After a miserable holiday with Mayo, he walked away for good. He divorced her on May 10, 1945, and just 11 days later married Bacall. Their love became legendary, but Mayo never bounced back. She died in 1951, after years of heartbreak and personal struggles. Cary Grant and Randolph Scott. Cary Grant and Randolph Scott were two of Hollywood's most admired leading men. They were handsome, charming, and wildly successful. But their close friendship sparked years of rumors. Many believed it was more than just friendship. The two met in the 1930s and became almost inseparable. They even shared a beach house in Malibu that they jokingly called Bachelor Hall. Photos from that time only added to the buzz. Grant and Scott often lounged poolside, laughing and relaxing together. To the press, their closeness seemed unusual, but studio bosses weren't amused. Hollywood back then demanded a squeaky clean, straight image from its stars. Just a whisper of anything different could end a career. So, both men publicly dated women. Grant married several times, but the whispers never stopped. Still, neither man confirmed nor denied anything. Grant once brushed off the talk with a joke. "I don't think I'll get married again. I'll just find a woman I don't like and give her a house." Whether they were just best friends or something more, their bond remains one of the great mysteries of old Hollywood, one that quietly challenged the rules of the time. Jean Harlow and William Powell. Jean Harlow and William Powell shared one of Hollywood's most secretive love stories. At the height of her fame, Harlow was known as the blonde bombshell, captivating audiences with her charm and beauty. Powell, in contrast, was the picture of elegance, a suave and polished leading man. Their connection was clear, yet they chose to keep their romance out of the spotlight. Though they fell deeply in love, Powell was hesitant about marriage. He had already gone through 2 divorces and wasn't eager to marry again. Still, the bond between them stayed strong. Powell showed his love through attention, affection, and lavish gifts. They were nearly inseparable, even as their relationship remained a private affair. Tragically, Harlow's life ended suddenly in 1937. She died from kidney failure at just 26 years old. Powell was devastated. He arranged for her to be buried in a beautiful gown he had given her and paid for her crypt, making sure she was honored as she deserved. Though he never spoke publicly about their love or his heartbreak, those close to him knew how much she meant to him. Their secret romance became a quiet, lasting memory that Powell carried for the rest of his life. Anthony Perkins and Tab Hunter. In 1956, before Psycho made Anthony Perkins a star, he met Tab Hunter, Hollywood's blonde, blue-eyed dream. Their first meeting at the Chateau Marmont pool sparked a quiet romance. In a world where their love was taboo, secrecy became their survival. To the public, they played it safe. They went on double dates with actresses to keep up appearances, fooling both the press and studio. Heads. But once the show was over, it was Perkins and Hunter who went home together to Paramount Studios. Tab Hunter's clean-cut, all-American image meant everything to the studio. They pushed him to end the relationship, afraid it would destroy his career. But he and Perkins ignored the pressure. They found ways to stay close, sneaking away to a beach house, sharing quiet moments away from the spotlight. For 3 years, they managed to balance their private love with Hollywood's demands, but it couldn't last. Career rivalry crept in. Perkins was cast in the film version of Fear Strikes Out, a role Hunter had played on TV. That moment drove a wedge between them, and the romance fell apart. Years passed. Clark Gable and Loretta Young. Clark Gable, the king of old Hollywood, and Loretta Young, known for her spotless image, shared a secret that wouldn't come out for decades. They met in 1935 while filming Call of the Wild. Gable was married, famous for his charm and reputation. Young, just 23, was taken in by his attention. But something happened on the train ride back to Hollywood. Alone in her sleeping car, Young later revealed Gable forced himself on her. It was a painful truth she only admitted many years later. That night changed her life. Young became pregnant and knew she couldn't reveal the father. In 1930s Hollywood, an unmarried actress with a baby would face ruin. So she hid the pregnancy and left the spotlight until her daughter Judy was born. To protect her career, Young gave Judy up for adoption, then adopted her back, pretending she was her own from the start. Gable, meanwhile, wanted no part of the child's life. When told about the birth, he reportedly tore up the telegram. He never acknowledged Judy publicly, rarely visited, and gave no financial support. For years, no one knew the truth. It stayed hidden until Young's memoir was published after her death. In it, she revealed the heartbreaking truth behind one of Hollywood's most closely guarded scandals. Barbara Stanwyck and Robert Taylor. Barbara Stanwyck and Robert Taylor were seen as one of Hollywood's most glamorous couples, but their marriage was far from the fairy tale fans believed. Many insiders thought it was a studio-made arrangement, meant to boost their careers and protect private truths. Taylor, with his good looks and charm, was a top box office draw. Stanwyck, known for her strong and independent roles, was among the highest-paid actresses in the business. They looked perfect together in public, but behind the scenes, whispers followed them. Rumors about Stanwyck's close ties with women spread around Hollywood. Her deep friendships and strong sense of self raised questions at a time when such things were not accepted. The press speculated, but the studios stepped in to protect her image. At the same time, Taylor's alleged affairs with other women added fuel to the fire. Their marriage often seemed more like a deal than a true romance. Still, they stayed together for over a decade. They showed a united front in public, while guarding their private lives closely. Their marriage ended in divorce in 1951, but the rumors never died. Even now, their relationship remains one of Hollywood's most talked-about mysteries, filled with glamour, secrets, and quiet scandal. Ingrid Bergman and Roberto Rossellini. Ingrid Bergman was once Hollywood's golden girl. She had a clean image and often played saintly roles on screen, but her real life told a different story. In 1937, she married Peter Lindstrom, a man who would later become a neurosurgeon. Their marriage was rocky from the start. By 1939, when she moved to California to chase her film career, they were already living apart. During the 1940s, Bergman became a global star with hits like Casablanca and Gaslight. But everything changed in 1950 when she met Italian director Roberto Rossellini on the set of Stromboli. At the time, she was still married, but the two began an affair. Soon, Bergman was pregnant with Rossellini's child. The fallout was huge. Fans felt betrayed. They had seen her as pure and moral, just like her film roles. Now, she was called immoral. Senator Edwin C. Johnson even called her a powerful influence for evil. Her films were boycotted, and some were even banned. The press wouldn't leave her alone. Bergman fled to Europe, where she and Rossellini had 3 children, including future actress Isabella Rossellini. Her affair ended her marriage and created distance between her and her first daughter, Pia, whom she left behind. She returned to Hollywood in 1956, and her career slowly recovered. But the scandal never faded. The affair with Rossellini made her one of the most controversial stars in Hollywood history. Rita Hayworth, Ali Khan, and Orson Welles. Rita Hayworth, known as Hollywood's love goddess, had a love life filled with drama. In 1943, she surprised everyone by marrying Orson Welles during a quick courthouse ceremony on their lunch break. The Associated Press even questioned the sudden marriage, especially since Hayworth had just been rumored to be engaged to actor Victor Mature. Though the couple had chemistry at first, their marriage soon fell apart. By 1946, they had separated. Not long after, Hayworth traveled to the French Riviera, where her beauty caught the eye of Prince Ali Khan, a well-known playboy and spiritual leader. Ali was determined to meet her. He convinced gossip writer Elsa Maxwell to arrange a party. Hayworth had planned to leave early, but Maxwell persuaded her to stay. Once she met the prince, she was charmed. Though both were still legally married, they began a relationship, something that outraged Hollywood. Columbia Studios president Harry Cohn was furious. He even sued Hayworth for $1.2 million after she left acting to be with Ali. British tabloids also attacked her, calling her behavior an insult to decent women. Still, the couple married in France in 1949. 7 months later, Hayworth gave birth to their daughter, Princess Yasmin, but the romance didn't last. Hayworth grew tired of Ali's constant affairs and filed for divorce in 1951. The breakup led to a bitter custody battle that lasted until Ali's tragic death in 1960. Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy. Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy were seen as one of Hollywood's most beloved couples. Their off-screen bond felt like a movie romance. But insiders, including Hollywood fixer Scotty Bowers, claimed it wasn't what it seemed. According to Bowers, their relationship was carefully staged. Hepburn, a legendary actress, was reportedly a lesbian. Tracy, known for his tough screen roles, was said to be bisexual. The studios paired them to protect their images and keep the public guessing. Bowers claimed Hepburn even asked him to find her a nice young dark-haired girl, a request he said he fulfilled over 150 times. Despite their hidden lives, Hepburn and Tracy showed the world a united front. Their friendship was real, even if the romance was complicated. Hepburn once told her biographer she stayed with Tracy out of love, even as he struggled with alcoholism and had other relationships. "I loved him and I wanted to be with him," she said. In the studio system's golden age, stars couldn't live openly. Bowers described it as a time when being yourself could end your career. The truth about Hepburn and Tracy's connection may always be debated, but their story lives on. Less a love affair, more a survival pact in a world that demanded perfection. Liza Minnelli and Peter Allen. Liza Minnelli's marriage to Peter Allen was far from typical. As Hollywood royalty, she carried the legacy of her mother, Judy Garland. Allen, a charming singer from Australia, had been discovered by Garland herself. After her mother's passing, Minnelli dove into her work and seemed to find comfort in Allen. From the outside, they looked like the perfect couple. But behind closed doors, things were very different. Allen had a secret: he was gay. Minnelli had no idea. The truth hit her hard on their wedding night, when she walked in on him with another man. Years later, she joked about the moment, saying, "Let me put it this way. I'll never surprise anybody coming home as long as I live. I call first." But that wasn't the only trouble. While filming Cabaret, Minnelli began an affair with music producer Rex Kramer. She didn't hide it either, often flaunting it in front of Allen. Her actions seemed to be driven by pain and a need to get even. Still, Allen kept cheating too. Things took a darker turn when it came out that he had also had an affair with Minnelli's stepfather, Mark Herron. The marriage, weighed down by secrets and betrayal, couldn't survive. They separated and eventually divorced in 1974. Even by Hollywood standards, their story left people stunned. Audrey Hepburn and William Holden. Audrey Hepburn and William Holden's romance began on the set of Sabrina in 1954. Holden had admired her long before they met. Once they started filming together, his crush turned serious. Their chemistry on screen was real, and off screen they fell into a passionate but secret affair. But their love was doomed. Holden was married, struggled with drinking, and carried emotional scars. Still, he fell hard. He even proposed. But Audrey had dreams of a family. She wanted children more than anything. When she learned Holden had a vasectomy, her heart broke. She turned him down. Holden later admitted, "I really was in love with Audrey, but she wouldn't marry me." A decade later, they reunited for Paris When It Sizzles. By then, Audrey was married. Holden still had feelings. He tried to win her back, but it ended in embarrassment. One night, drunk, he tried to climb to her dressing room window, but fell before he got there. That moment sealed the end of their love story. A romance that could have been, but never was. Gary Cooper and Lupe Velez. Gary Cooper and Lupe Velez had a love affair that was old, intense, and full of drama. They met filming The Wolf Song in 1929 and quickly fell into a fiery romance. Velez, known for her temper, often let her emotions get the best of her. During one fight, she chased Cooper with a knife, cutting him so badly he needed stitches. The tabloids loved it. Their fights were loud, public, and constant. But Cooper wasn't innocent. While Velez poured her heart into him, he was off having flings with other stars like Marlene Dietrich and Carole Lombard. Still, Velez held on. Their stormy relationship lasted 3 years. When they finally broke up, things got dangerous. As Cooper boarded a train, Velez showed up, screamed his name, and fired a gun at him. She missed, and Cooper dove inside the car. To make it more tangled, rumors swirled that Cooper was close with actor Anderson Lawler. Velez claimed she smelled Lawler's cologne on Cooper and hinted at a love triangle. Their relationship was chaotic, scandalous, and unforgettable, even in Hollywood's long list of wild romances. Lana Turner and Johnny Stompanato. Lana Turner was a Hollywood icon, known for her beauty and fame. But behind the glamour, she lived a nightmare with mobster Johnny Stompanato. He was tied to gangster Mickey Cohen and had a violent, jealous streak. Their relationship was toxic from the start. Friends and family feared for Lana. Johnny tried to control her every move. Their fights were loud and often turned physical. But Lana couldn't seem to let go. Maybe she was drawn to the drama or believed she could fix it. Everything came crashing down in 1958. During one fight at Lana's Beverly Hills home, her 14-year-old daughter Cheryl Crane heard the shouting. Fearing for her mom's life, Cheryl grabbed a kitchen knife and stabbed Stompanato. He died on the spot. The case stunned the nation. At trial, Cheryl claimed self-defense. Lana gave an emotional testimony, revealing years of abuse. The court ruled the stabbing justified, but the story left a mark on Lana's name. It became one of Hollywood's darkest and most shocking scandals. Bette Davis and William Wyler. Bette Davis had many men in her life, but she always said William Wyler was the one that got away. Their affair began while working on The Letter in 1940 and continued into The Little Foxes in 1941, two of her most acclaimed films. Davis later confessed, "Willie was the love of my life, no question. He was everything I ever dreamed of in a man." But Wyler saw it differently. He once described Davis as deeply emotional and full of energy, too much for him to handle. Their accounts of what went wrong didn't match. Davis claimed she wanted to marry him. Wyler insisted she told him otherwise. Either way, the romance didn't last, but for Davis, it was unforgettable. Years later, she visited him on the set of Ben-Hur in 1959. She said their reunion was heartbreaking. He greeted her politely, as if their affair had never happened. That moment confirmed what she'd long feared. She had loved him deeply, but the feeling wasn't mutual. Their relationship stayed private back then, but it remains one of the most bittersweet chapters in Bette Davis's life. Marlon Brando and Rita Moreno. When Marlon Brando met Rita Moreno in 1954, the spark was instant. Moreno said meeting him made her blush from head to toe, but behind the passion was years of heartbreak. Brando was charming, but also unfaithful. During their 8-year romance, he cheated often. Still, Moreno couldn't walk away. She loved him even as he married other women. She wanted more, a real commitment, but Brando never offered it. Things hit a breaking point when Moreno found lingerie that wasn't hers. Furious and hurt, she decided to get even. Enter Elvis Presley. Moreno accepted his interest, knowing it would drive Brando wild. It worked. Brando exploded with jealousy. He even threw furniture in a rage. But in the end, she said Elvis just couldn't compare to Brando. Their relationship reached its darkest point when Moreno got pregnant. Brando forced her to have an abortion, and when it went horribly wrong, he showed no care, only concern for the money it cost him. The trauma pushed her to the edge, and in a moment of despair, she tried to end her life. She survived. But their toxic love story was over. Errol Flynn and Beverly Adland. Errol Flynn was once the golden boy of Hollywood, but by the 1950s, his fame was fading, and scandals were stacking up. Then came Beverly Adland. Flynn met her when she was just 15. He claimed he didn't know her age at first, but many doubted that. Their first meeting, under the excuse of an audition, was more about Flynn's personal interest than any role. Shockingly, Beverly's mother, Florence, is that supported the relationship. She even joined them on dates to keep reporters from digging too deep. Flynn promised Beverly a future in showbiz, gave her the nickname Woodsy, threw her a huge birthday party, even announced plans to marry her, right as she turned 17. But time was running out. In 1959, while on his yacht in Canada, Flynn collapsed after a night of storytelling. He died in Beverly's arms. She was just a teen. After his death, Beverly's life unraveled. She was placed in a juvenile home. Her mother was jailed for contributing to her delinquency. Then came the final blow. Florence wrote a tell-all book, The Big Love, spilling everything, even though Beverly begged her not to. Their romance was messy, controversial, and tragic. It shocked the public and left a lasting stain on Flynn's legacy. Did you enjoy this video? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if you love this kind of content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a story.